let's move on to our final question for everybody today. And we can just spitball on this one. But
cool.
What have you been watching lately? It could be anything, old, new, Netflix, whatever. Adi, what have you been watching lately?
I have been binging miniseries like nobody's business. I'm not joking. I think in 2 weeks I watched 6 or 7. Nice. And I have a top 3. My favorite one is also a 2021 release, Midnight Mass. I am obsessed. I love it. It's just, it's so dark, but it's more than just being, like a supernatural mystery or anything like that. The commentary on life and death, there are some of the best, most captivating and moving monologues I've ever heard about those topics. And I just thought it was incredibly moving. It still stuck with me. I finished it a few days ago and I'm still thinking about it and processing it. And I've already sort of watched it again because my sister started it after me, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I went to start watching it. I laid down in bed. I turned on and like within 5 minutes, like, oh no, this is one of those shows where I have to like pay attention to everything. And I just turned to my girlfriend and like, we're watching something else because I have to be in a situation where like, I've got the popcorn ready. I got to give it the time of day. So
you do.
I'm hearing amazing reviews. I think IGN gave it a 10 out of 10, which is pretty rare for them, I think. So
it's got like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes as well. It's doing pretty well on IMDb too, but just watch it for yourself. And I think if you appreciate incredible writing and you're up for something dark and confronting about, just the reality that is life and death, then you might really be moved by it. I thought it was incredible, and the actors were brilliant. I don't know how the hell they memorized some of their scenes. There must have been like 30 pages. It's crazy. Wow. But loved it. I loved it.
Anything else?
Yeah. After that miniseries, I really enjoyed 9 Perfect Strangers, which is Nicole Kidman's one that she recently produced, and they filmed it up in Byron Bay with Melissa McCarthy. Oh my God, that thing it's not what you expect. Like, it doesn't end the way you think it's going to. There's every episode you're like, okay, the fuck is happening? Like, who do I trust? I don't know what's going on.
I've got a funny story about that show.
Okay, we will definitely hear that in 1 second. But I oh my God, I binged it. Like, so those 2 I binged in about a day and a half. Only when I had to like pass out physically is when I would stop the binge. But I had to know what was going on. Incredible. Oh my God, you don't know. It's another good lesson about life. Again, I don't know, seems to be the theme lately, but I fucking loved
that's
it.
That's often a good sign of a good story. I remember one of my first ever screenwriting classes in film school, and someone said one of the biggest mistakes with filmmakers, no matter what level, is writing a story when they have nothing to say.
Yeah.
If your characters can like grow and change, that's great. But if the audience can grow and change with your characters, that is like that's perfect.
Absolutely.
Jesse, what's your story? What's your story about it?
Oh, I was just going to say, so you guys know this story. When I was on the set of a TV series, I was talking to another guy that does a lot of extra work, and he was on the upcoming Thor movie, and he had a extras role on 9 Perfect Strangers. And I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler or not, if people haven't seen it, but there's a scene. Oh, actually, I don't know if I should say it, 'cause it could be spoilery.
Okay.
Just say there was a scene and something happens, and then
there was a scene in. Oh God, I don't know if I can say this. Okay, there was a scene.
Can you say it without spoiling it?
Is it about like a thing with one of the actors, or is it the scene itself?
Well, something happened to him specifically. Ooh. Okay, so there was a scene in I think it was a theater or something along those lines, and he was seated. They had all these extras seated in the theater, and he was. I haven't seen the series, but he's seated in the front row, and he said there's this scene where a character dies. I'm not going to say how they die, because I don't want to spoil it. But in case that was actually in the series. But and apparently there was supposed to be like a projection of blood. Like blood was supposed to, but the ADs told this guy I was chatting to, because he's sitting in the front row, they said, the blood shouldn't get on you or anywhere near you. You should be okay, but this is what's going to happen or whatever.
Yeah.
So they shot the scene, the person dies, the character dies, and the extra that I was chatting to, he got caked in blood. Just the blood all sprayed all over him. So,
oh my God. That's
yeah,
kind of
they're
cool.
like, oh, sorry about that. And they just like walked off. So, and he wasn't expecting it. So he's like, so when they filmed it, like he had like a genuine reaction to what was
That's
happening.
really cool.
He was like not expecting it at all. So
You got to have a moment, like an acting moment. Yeah. That's really awesome.
So, it's a little
piece of trivia there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Before my turn is over, I just have to mention one more miniseries. The Outsider came out, I think, last year or 2019. It's based on a Stephen King novel about
I gotta watch that.
Jason Bateman is so good in dramatic roles. He basically is in two places at the same time that both prove he murdered a young boy and also proved he was not there. And they have to solve this mystery. And it's like a supernatural thriller. My mum and I watched it in one go. We finished it, I think, at like 1 a.m.
Wow.
We couldn't stop. We had to know what happened. It was amazing.
I love that feeling.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So yeah, that was my top 3.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you. Right here, live on the podcast.
Yes.
Sorry, apologies to everybody.
Get all the sneeze, the coughs.
Gotta get that Rona out of my system. No,
yeah. Oh my God.
We all good here. We all good here, fam.
We're all back.
You mean Corona
Jesse.
beer?
Yes.
Yes. I've had a lot of those lately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Matthew.
What have you been watching lately, my friend?
What would you like? Okay, so I watched The Guilty the other day. I think we're chatting about this earlier. We won't review it in case we do it later, or if we are doing it later.
We'll definitely do it later. That movie's awesome.
I'll just say that I was very keen to see it. It looked really good. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and I love the screenwriter Nick Pizzolatto, who did True Detective, which is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. I don't know it's based on I know it's an American remake of a European film, but I've watched that. What else? I'm mostly waiting for shows to come back. I haven't been watching as much. I got to watch Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm the last person on earth who's actually seen that show.
Haven't yet either.
I'm waiting for Dexter, the new Dexter season. I'm waiting for Yellowstone to come back. I'm waiting for Ozark, but I think that's coming back next year. I binge watched all of Ozark like towards the start of this year, and I love that show. Like that show's like super up my alley. I think that's about it. Like I haven't been watching heaps lately.
Just waiting.
But yeah, just waiting for stuff to come back pretty much.
So cool, man. Something I've been watching lately: Squid Game.
Okay, you have watched it.
Look, I gotta be honest. It lives up to the hype. I went in expecting not to like it, because like the concept is very silly. In fact, it reminds me of, was it Escape Room? I think it was called.
Yeah.
And that movie is like, there's this type of horror film. I call it like Fisher Price horror films, or my
Fisher
first horror
Price
film.
horror film.
It's PG-13 horror films. Like back in the day, in the 90s and early 2000s, like all horror films kind of blurred together, right? And now it feels like there's this new subgenre. Like I feel like in the last few years, we've got like 2 new subgenres of horror films.
Okay.
We have
like Hallmark horror.
Maybe, but okay. Well, here's what I do. There's this one which is like, I call them comedy horror, which is sorry. I call them horror comedy, which is different to comedy horror. What do you mean by that, Matt? Well, like, you know, you get Scary Movie, and that's like a parody of a horror. No, I'm talking like Ready or Not, where that's like it's a horror movie, but it's got a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
I like those movies. They're cool.
Yeah.
But then you got like Fisher Price horror, where it's like everybody looks like they're from the CW. Everyone's a supermodel.
Yeah.
The blood is almost non-existent. Anyways, that's what I went in thinking Squid Game would be like. It's not. It is weird as shit, but if anything, it reminds me like why I used to love anime back in the day. Like they'll have these cool scenes which like you never see in Western films, where they'll over-explain concepts while like a montage is happening, and it just feels like it's really overly dramatic, but in a cool way. Like that's something I really like about it, and also they make the weirdness normal, like kind of like how something like Guardians of the Galaxy or even like Taika Waititi films, like everything is crazy, so the craziness becomes normal, and then like it's a great way that the director has made you accept the reality, and so your suspension of disbelief is it's more suited to the film. Like they train you pretty well to get used to what it's like.
Yep.
But there are some good twists in it. It's not as fucked up as people make it out to be. Like Saw is way more fucked up, but the fact that like they have like these killer versions of like these children games is interesting and entertaining. And I would say it's got the same strengths as something like Get Out or Black Panther has, where they take these cultural things, like these cultural Korean things, but they add a genre twist to it, and it makes it really fun. I will say, and this might be controversial, a lot of people will tell you, watch it with subtitles with Korean dialogue because it's better for the acting. I'm here to say, don't listen to them because the subtitles don't reveal much information. Like, I think what happened is the subtitles are a literal translation, but the dub, like the actors have worked in the studio to, add nuance and slang and add more personality to it. Or? Yeah, the English voice actors. So I watched with English subtitles and English dubs at the same time, and they rarely match.
That is such a really good idea to do that. Like, I would never have thought to do that, to be honest.
And honestly, like, there are multiple times I looked at subtitle and I listened to them, and I'm like, I never would have known that if I just read the subtitle.
Yeah.
Because, like, they add way more context to it. And, yeah, I just want to get that out there because people, that's what I recommend. Like, I know.
So true. You think the subtitles are going to offer you, like, the original word for word everything. So.
Well, the thing, but I guess, like, with the languages, like, not everything always
and they
doesn't
translate a lot of what they're originally saying.
Yeah.
Just make it so it's bare bones.
Exactly.
You understand what's going on.
I'll tell you what too. I enjoyed it so much that a lot of people have told me that if you like Squid Game, there's another show on Netflix worth watching called Alice in Borderlands.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, which is a Japanese show, and it's a very, very similar concept, but it's a bit more fantastical. It's a little, I wouldn't say it's as good, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'm probably like 3 episodes in.
They know how to do the shows and movies where it's like game shows involving death.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
It really feels like the whole Battle Royale type
that's what I was going to
say. It's really it's really coming back, especially with these type films. But yeah, what else? I've been watching What If, that just finished, which is the new Marvel MCU animated show. I really enjoyed that. I think it's really cool how a lot of the characters who haven't had screen time much in the Marvel films a bit more expanded here. Like, I feel like the character Captain Marvel has not been explored very well in the movies, but in her limited screen time in What If, she's so much more interesting now, just based on like the little time she's had in the show. And like things like that I found really cool. We can probably talk about that more one day, but as a Marvel fanboy, obviously I was over the moon with that. And I went in like not super stoked on it because I wasn't sure of the animation style at first, but it grew on me pretty quickly. I thought it was pretty cool.
I'll have to check it out for sure.
Yeah. Look,